next episode of the Talk Sports Show with host Alec Pecado on Monday, September 4th, 2023. Today I will be going over my Week 1 college football review, as well as talking about Ohio State a little bit. I'll talk about them twice, and I'm also going to talk about USF. And I just want to make sure audio. Perfect camera. Let's get to it. Here are the stats from the Ohio State game on Saturday versus Indiana. First, we've got quarterback Cal McCord, who went 20 of 33 for 239 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. Running backs, Chip Trainum had 8 carries for 57 yards with no touchdowns. He averaged 7.1 yards per carry. The second running back that was in the game was Travion Henderson, and he had 12 carries for 47 yards with no touchdowns, and he averaged 3.9 yards per carry, so basically almost 4 yards per carry. And the last running back was Mayan Williams, who had 7 carries for 21 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaged 3.6 yards per carry. The top target in this game for Kyle McCord was tight end Cade Stover, who had 5 catches for 98 yards with an average of 19.6 yards per catch. And second on the team in receptions in this game was Jillian Fleming with 6 catches for 58 yards for an average of 9.7 yards per carry. Reception. There's a noticeable name missing from the wide receivers, and it is Marvin Harrison Jr., who only had 2 catches for 18 yards. And I will go into more detail later in the episode about how I think the Buckeyes can get Marvin Harrison more involved in the offense. But now here's the flip side. Here's Indiana, who only scored 3 points. They played a 2 QB rotation. The main guy was Brandon Sorsby, who went 8 of 16 for 58 yards. Their leading rusher was Christian Turner with 7 carries for 29 yards. Jalen Lucas was second with 11 carries for 24 yards. He played a little bit of everywhere for Indiana. He was on kick return duty. He was lined up at wide receiver, lined up in the backfield. And their leading receiver was Cam Camper with 3 catches for 35 yards. And here's a little taste of the rest of my CFB Week 1 scores. Yes, I called the upset. I said Colorado was going to upset TCU, and no one wanted to listen. Everybody wanted to laugh and say, no, TCU's going to kill Colorado. No, that's where y'all were wrong. Colorado pulled off the upset and won. Shedeur Sanders is for real. He and his teammate Travis Hunter are at the top of my list. We still got one more game left in Week 1. and that's Clemson and Duke tonight. But Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are 1 and 2 right now in my Heisman race. On my Heisman list after week 1. Texas State was another team that pulled an upset. They beat Baylor 42-31. And the last game I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to go more in depth here in a few minutes about this game, was USF and Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky won 41-24. Now on to the next segment. My top 5 week 1 transfers that I liked. Number 5, quarterback Hudson Card, Purdue. He went 17 of 30 for 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is the real deal at Purdue. I think Purdue is going to have a good season. That Big Ten West is wide open. There's a bunch of teams that can win the Big Ten West. Number 4 transfer that I liked was quarterback Cade McNamara from Iowa. He went 17 of 30 for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns in his Hawkeye debut. I think this was a good transfer get for Iowa because they did not have a quarterback last year. That is why they lost a lot of games last year. Now that they have a quarterback, I think they have a chance to win the Big Ten West. My number 3 transfer that I liked in week 1 was wide receiver A.D. Mitchell from Texas. He had 3 catches for 26 yards and a touchdown in Texas's win over Rice. And I think he's going to be heavily involved in the passing game for Texas. My number 2 transfer I liked in week 1 was wide receiver / cornerback Travis Hunter from Colorado. At wide receiver, he had 11 catches for 119 yards. And on defense, he had an interception, a pass breakup, and a pass deflection. He is legit. Colorado's going to do special things this year. And my number 1 transfer that I like from week 1, and I watched most of this game, was Miami of Ohio wide receiver Gage Larvadane. 8 catches for 80 yards. He did not have a touchdown, but it looks like he's going to be Blake Gabbert's number 1 receiver for Miami of Ohio. He looks like he's going to be the main target for quarterback Blake Gabbert. And I didn't mention this at the beginning of this segment, but once I talk about a guy, I put him on the top 5 transfers that I liked from that week, I can't mention him again. Besides from honorable mention. And the one honorable mention I've got for this week is Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. He had 4 touchdowns and threw for 510 yards against TCU. That, like I said a minute ago, right now my top 2 guys in the Heisman list, on my Heisman list so far after week 1 are Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. Marvin Harrison disappointed, so he's going to move down my list for my Heisman. More talk about Ohio State now. So, here's what I would do to get Marvin Harrison more involved in the offense. I felt like he wasn't targeted enough on Saturday, to the point where I do like that Cardell Tate got a little bit of playing time, but Marvin, you need to be more. Marvin Harrison needs to. He needs to be. McCord needs to be throwing him the ball more consistently. Like, I understand that Stover was his main target this game. I'm going to the game on Saturday. Hopefully they play Youngstown State. Hopefully McCord is more. He was accurate, but I don't understand the people that are out here slandering him right now. If you go back and look at CJ Stroud's first couple starts after he was named the starter at Ohio State, he struggled. It took him 2 or 3 games to get into a groove and really get going. I think it's going to be the same way with McCord. Or, in the case that McCord struggles, Devin Brown then becomes the starter. And that's the other thing I don't understand. So McCord won the job, but they wanted Devin Brown to play as well. And I don't like when you have 2 QBs playing, because it doesn't give the offense a chance to really gel. And I don't agree with the 2 quarterback system Ohio State's running. I like Devin Brown, but I think he should wait his turn and let Kyle McCord have a play this year. And then if McCord has a good season, McCord goes pro. I liked what I saw from the running backs, though, at Ohio during this game, especially Chip Trainum. I think he's going to have a big rest of the season for Ohio State. He was electric. He averaged 7 yards per carry in this game. And the only other thing is you need to get more. Julian Fleming is the best number 3 receiver in college football. He'd be a number 1 receiver on. If he entered the portal and went somewhere else, he would probably be a number 1 receiver. But he's at Ohio State, and he's the number 3 receiver behind presumed top 5 pick next year, Marvin Harrison Jr., and also projected first-round pick, wide receiver, Emeka Ibuka. Ohio State is stacked at receiver. You saw a little bit of Carnell Tate. He had 1 catch for 12 yards. And the staff at Ohio State has been raving. They've been, I'm going to use this word, and I don't use it a lot. They've been gushing with praises for a freshman wide receiver that was probably not going to play this year. But I think there's a chance that he gets a small amount of playing time this year. And that he takes off in his sophomore year, because Ibuka's going to be gone. Harrison's going to be gone. Fleming's probably going to be number 1. Number 2 is probably going to be Carnell Tate. 3 might be Noah Rogers. It might be a whole host of guys for the slot. And the other thing I'm going to say about Ohio State is their defense. Ohio State's defense looked amazing. Granted, it's against Indiana. I'm sorry, Indiana fans, if that's offensive, but I don't mean to be offensive. But Ohio State's defense played really, really good. I think Sonny Styles is going to be the next great safety from Ohio State to go pro. And that's saying something, because Ohio State's had some good safeties over the years. And I think I think Ohio State's going to have one of the best defenses they've had since they won the national championship in 2014. The only thing that scares me on the offensive side is their offensive line. They didn't give up any sacks. They didn't give up any sacks against Indiana. But I'm a little worried because you've almost an entirely new offensive line besides Donovan Jackson, Matthew Jones, and I think that's it. The rest, Simons is a new offensive lineman. They've got a lot of new offensive. Their offensive line is basically all new guys, besides Donovan Jackson and Matthew Jones. Now, let's switch to their defensive line. The defensive line is stacked. You have Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, or as we call him, JTT. Denzel Burke is going to be one of the best cornerbacks in the Big Ten, DBs in the Big Ten this year. Linebackers, you got Steel Chambers, Tommy Eichenberg. Caden Curry played a little bit after they took out the starters. I was impressed with the few snaps that Caden Curry got in this game. I think he's going to be special in many ways. More than just, he will be starting once Eichenberg leaves, once Steel Chambers leaves. Now I'm going to talk about USF in their first game. I watched, just like Ohio State, I watched pretty much the whole USF Western Kentucky game. I like the new offense that USF runs. It's a high-powered passing offense. I thought Bohannon was going to start, but he was hurt. And apparently they were saying all broadcast that Byron Brown won the starting job. And that Bohannon could have left and went in the portal, but he stuck around. Byron Brown is a redshirt freshman. He started 2 games at the end of last year when Bohannon was after Travis Marsh got hurt. I like Byron Brown, and I like this new offense. I think USF's going to have a special season. They got a big game the week after this week. They play Bama at home. I don't know if they're going to win, but it's a big test to see if they can compete with an SEC team. I was very impressed with USF's defense. I like the defense they run under Todd Orlando. They had the worst defense in the country last year. And all you can do from there is go up. I think they're going to have a much improved defense. The reason they lost to Western Kentucky is Western Kentucky has a really, really good quarterback in Austin Reed, which I think that kid is going to be a day 2 draft pick in the NFL this year. I like all the new transfers USF got. I think USF, like I said, they're going to have a good season. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Now I'm going to talk about Colorado. For those of you, yes, I have jumped on the Colorado hype train. I think I picked Colorado to finish in the top 5 of the Pac-12 this year. In their final year in the Pac-12 before they go over to the Big 12. We'll go back to the Big 12. But I like what Dion has done there so far. 86 85, 86 new guys. And he basically told the guys that either you buy in and you stay, or you hop in the portal and you go somewhere else. And from the 1-11 team last year, there's only 2 guys left on Colorado right now that were on that 1-11 team. And everybody thought going into week 1 at TCU that they were going to lose by a lot. Watch out for Colorado to make the playoffs. Not saying it's going to happen. It might, but you never know. I could look like a dummy for putting Colorado where I put them in the Pac-12 preseason rankings. Or I could look like a genius and they outperform where they were supposed to finish, which was 5th. They could finish higher than that. I want them to do, I think they will win more games than people are giving them credit for. People are saying, oh, they're only going to win 3 or 4 games. I think they're going to win more than that. Before the season, I said on Colorado, if you're bet over or under on wins, take the over. Because I think they're going to win more games than people are giving them credit for. Because Dion has got them playing really good after 1 week. And Shadur is the real deal. Another guy I like on Colorado is their running back, Dylan Edwards, who had 3 receiving touchdowns. He had 4 total touchdowns in their game Saturday against TCU. I think he's going to be a special player for Colorado. He had offers to go to other schools. He chose to come to Boulder and play for Dion. And I like that. Like I said, I don't get people slandering Colorado and saying, oh, they're not going to be competitive. They are going to be very, very competitive this year in the Pac-12. They've got a big game in 2 weeks. They play Oregon in 2 weeks. That's going to determine, in my opinion, if Colorado is for real. If they win that game, there's a good chance they might win the Pac-12 because the next week they play USC. And there is no divisions in the Pac-12 anymore. It's the 2 best teams at the end of the year that finish first and second that make the conference championship game in the Pac-12. The other thing I'm going to talk about is I don't really care. I don't like how people are slandering on Texas. They're saying, oh, Texas is not going to beat Alabama. I think Texas might beat Alabama because Texas has a more experienced QB than Alabama does. Alabama has a new quarterback in Jalen Milroe. Texas has a returning quarterback in Quinn Ewers. If you watched any of the Texas Rice game, I understand it's Rice, but the thing you need to understand is Texas is for real. I think Texas could have a special season. And I think Dave, I'm going to say one more thing. This is the last word from Alec Pecano. I think Dave Aranda is on the hot seat. They should not have lost to Texas State. That's an embarrassing loss. That's like Ohio State, for example, losing to Youngstown State, which probably shouldn't happen. And I don't think it will. Tomorrow's video, you will see my week 2 college football picks Point spreads, over, under, upset. Upsets of the week. You get 2 upsets of the week and 3 point spread picks and over, under picks. I will have those for you tomorrow on tomorrow's show at 3 p.m. Be ready. And the last thing I'm going to talk about before I end the show is memberships. I offer memberships to my loyal supporters. I offer a starter level membership, which is 99 cents a month. I offer, that's the opener. The starter level is $2.99 a month. The medium level is $4.99. The elite level is $5.99, and the gold level is $9.99 a month. $9.99. I recommend that if you haven't already, you at least go and you check it out and see if you want to purchase a membership. Also on there, I do offer merch, and I'm going to be putting out more merch here soon because college football season started, and you will see more merch being put out soon. And if you would like to buy the merch, please do, as it helps me not only grow my channel, but it helps me get profit. And thank you. That'll do it for today's stream. The one other thing I'm going to say is Thursday there will be no stream, as I am going to be staying at the airport in Tampa to fly out Friday morning for my trip up to Ohio, which when I get to Ohio, I will have a stream for y'all at 5 o'clock on Friday, September 8th. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.